there, Seraphim 17 once again, introducing you to my Ghost Recon Future Soldier Elite Difficulty video walkthrough. This is Tiger Dust, and this is pretty much the first sniping mission of the game. So be careful on these roofs, because if you move too quickly or if you come out of cloak, there's a lot of guys that can see you, and if you set off an alarm, I think at the early phase of this mission, it's going to fail. So what you want to be doing is you want to just go through, you want to be cleaning dudes up, killing them as efficiently as you can, and making sure that you're aware of where everybody is, because if you know where they are, you can take them out without any trouble. And there's a challenge for doing this entire start sequence without missing a shot. And I think a cheeky way of doing that is to get your team to do all the firing, but you'll notice I like to be involved, and it makes for a more interesting guide if you see me shooting as well. So I do fire, and I think on this run I do that challenge. But my advice to y'all when you play is save that stuff for another run. Don't be too focused on trying to do the silly things the game wants you to do when you're on the most punishing setting, because it's easily possible to do some of them. You're just going to get yourself into some bad spots if you're not careful. Like the first level, the first challenge is to use a light machine gun and kill 5 guys without reloading in one burst, or something like that. And then there's a challenge below it for not firing more than 20 bullets or something. So it's really counterintuitive, some of them. But just keep moving through this roof, keep checking off the guys that I see. And what we're going to be doing is I'm going to mark as many as I can. I'm going to move up into this tower, and then we're going to synchronize shot, and I'm going to get rid of the last few snipers. And always listen to your team. Your team are really useful at pointing people out. They're not so useful at making them appear on your heads-up display, because you have to see them and mark them for them to pop up. Your team aren't as gifted as you are, apparently, but they do have laser eye vision, so they can see miles, and they spot dudes you didn't even know existed. And you want to use that to your advantage. But it didn't say clear, so there's still somebody left. I see a head up there bobbing up and down. Clean him up. Still didn't say clear, so there's another guy somewhere. Use the magnet vision to try and spot him. There he is down there. Good night. And then there's one guy over there. Now that that's done, no alarms, no misses, we can carry on. And this bit's going to introduce you to the secondary features of the Recon drone, which is the ability to land it and drive it around like a micro machine. The only problem is the thing controls like dog shit, so it's really annoying. But once again, we're waiting for my teammate who can't get into position because he's a moron. But there we go, he asks you to do the drone, and this bit's a little bit misleading because at first I thought you had to do something with the glass, and you don't. You have to fly down onto the balcony where we shot that guy, and then go in that way. But hold the left trigger to get down on the altitude, then press B to land, and then it's time to do some really, really bad driving. Because the controls on this thing could have been better. And just keep following the objective. You need to drive into the middle of this room and do the sonic pulse. It's going to immobilize the targets so that we can breach and then kill them all effortlessly. And I don't know if you can get spotted here, but it probably might be funny to try and drive into a dude's leg just to see how he responds. But there's the breach. Immediately you're going to have to shoot a couple guys. Don't get too overzealous because you can't turn all that far. I try and shoot the target all the time because I get excited. But push him against the wall. There's the transition. And this is the first time I failed the game on my first playthrough on Elite, because this section here is awkward. There is a bunch of cover, a bunch of cars, a bunch of enemies, and more importantly, a bunch of civilians. And while you're trying to shoot the dudes, you're going to shoot the civs. It's just how it works. And if you shoot a couple of civilians, you're going to fail. And that's how I failed. And then because I'd failed and I wanted to get through it again quickly, I ended up rushing and I ended up getting killed. And this was the first place I died. So there goes my first teammate down. Don't worry, look at him with the drone, press the button that prompts your teammates to revive him, and that's exactly what they'll do. And this is my strategy for this section. This way you don't have to shoot any civilians and you are the safest. It's not the fastest or the most fun, but it's definitely using the Ghost Recon equipment. And be careful on this section because it utilises programmed firing. And what that means is, to make it look more epic and more eventful, this stuff right now, this is not a person shooting, this is the game making it look like somebody's shooting. Because when I bring out the drone, there's nobody there. See? There's nobody. It's bullshit. It's a lie. There's no cake. There's no portals. It's nonsense. And it does it a lot on this bit, and it makes you think you're in a shitstorm when really you're not. It's just a way to make it look more hectic than it is. So now that there's actually a couple of dudes, I mark them, but Pepper goes down. Come on, Sergeant Pepper, get your ass up. But make sure you're highlighting. You'll see your buddy go across and start reviving. And just keep on tagging people. That'll make your team shoot them a little bit more. And as soon as they go down, feel free to push forward. And don't go too far in front or that will happen. When you lose signal, it's never good. But just keep calling your drone back, keep pushing forward cover to cover, and you should have this. But like all this is complete utter nonsense. It's just an effect. And there's a part of me that thinks you can die from it. I really do, because when I was playing on my first time through and I was rushing past these areas, I got mowed down in like a bullet, and there wasn't even any enemies in front of me, and I think it was that programmed fire. But I do have a sniper rifle, and it's a good one. It's the MSR, it's the one that's on Modern Warfare 3, and I could be using that, but like when you're trying to find enemies, they kill you so quickly. It's one of those things where you've got to be quick on the draw anyway, and when there's so many cars and so many people and so many things that are stopping you from getting a good shot, you'll find yourself getting flanked and getting shot, and it just makes so much more sense to do it like this. But look at my team, look how good the team is. And as much as I hate them for being slow or not getting into position and making me reload a checkpoint, it's moments like this when you realise that the AI on your team is actually pretty damn good. Because that's one of the Ghost Recon staples. I don't know if you remember the old games, but Advanced Warfighters especially, your team was great. I used my team on the first game and the second game more than I used myself, a lot of it. And that's because I had a 50 cal at all times, and I used to shoot people through concrete. And right there I took a sensor just to see if anybody's actually shooting, and it doesn't look like they are. Drone goes up, see if we can see anybody, and you see what I mean? There's nobody here. It's such a strange thing that games do. And it reminds me of an old game, a game called Conker's Bad Fur Day, because that did it. And if you remember the war section, which was doing Save It Private Ryan, there was a beach moment where you had to run up Normandy Beach, and it was really difficult because there was programmed fire. And the programmed fire on that game could kill you as well. And that was one of the hardest parts of that game. And it's been seen again, something of a similar situation, because if you've ever played Call of Duty 2, the one with the beaches, there's a section where you have to run out of a bunker, go across no man's land, and there's 2 artillery nests shooting at you, and you can't stop the artillery nests, it's all programmed fire. The game wants you to throw a smoke and run through it, but if you don't have a smoke, you're instantly murdered. It's such a bad mechanic. But Sergeant Pepper's down again, we'll get him up. And I'm being really tentative here, guys, because there's no checkpoint on this entire road. So if I die, I go back to the very start of the road, and this bit can be really frustrating with the civilians, because 2 civilians and you failed. And if you're trying to shoot every guy on this section, you're going to shoot so many civilians, it's not even funny. But there's the APC. When you kill the APC, I think it ends this section. And at first, I didn't want to shoot this guy, because I thought it was like the ones later on, where there's no point shooting them with your actual gun, you want to just grenade them and things. So I use my sniper, and I let my team do it. But I could have been a lot more aggressive. I was just trying to be as tentative as possible so I could get the guide recorded. But right there, more programmed fire. Nothing to worry about, it's just trying to be fancy. Couple of guys rushing forward now. That is definitely something to worry about as Pepper goes down once again. And the only thing you want to be aware of here is if you've pushed up as far as I have, the enemies might try and flank you when you're in the drone. You want to avoid that as much as possible. But here's me peppering that with an SMG. Not a good idea. Should probably pull the sniper rifle out, but that's what you're going to see on the next video. So thanks for watching, and you take care now.